Thanks for staying with us. So we have one hot gist today. So I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they were giving me this story about this couple, right? They were married in the US for some time, and they got divorced. Now, after the divorce, both of them then moved to separate states because they moved on with their lives. 5 years after, the woman's friend married her husband, her ex-husband. And then, so the wife, the woman who's been divorced, whose friend had gone to go and marry her husband 5 years after, was now really sulking and, of course, was unhappy. Like, yes, she's divorced, but she then feels like the friend had betrayed her trust by going to marry her ex-husband because they seem to be happy now. So the question is it right for you to marry your friend's ex-husband, even though they are divorced? Have you broken the girl code by doing that? That's the question, because this woman is really unhappy. Not that it affects her, but she just feels like, listen, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. What are your thoughts on this? Nima, I'm not starting with you. Let me come to talk with you.
I know that there is like a bro code, you know, that many people are aware of. These are things you don't do as a bro to another bro. But for me, it's about loyalty. If you are my friend, on no account should you, for any reason, God forbid, marry my ex-husband.
You use all the words.
Yes, God forbid, yes. If you, because for me, for that woman to marry the ex-husband, it questions the sincerity of that friendship in the first place. It also brings the point of, were you always admiring him? Okay, sometimes you admire, you know, you can look at a man and say, oh, I like the way he treats my friend, though. But, like, there are some boundaries you must never cross. Because, genuinely, there are cases where people are separated for 5, 10 years, divorced, and they come back together. So, for any reason, you have now terminated the opportunity for that relationship to recover.
Right.
So, I feel that if you are a genuine friend, you must be cheering for the best. So if you truly feel that man is a good man for you to marry, and your friend had married that man, your prayer should be, let my friend come back and marry this good man. Not that you now say, hey, my friend lost opportunity, oh, let me grab the opportunity.
Right. Okay, it just doesn't speak of Mara, or you want to come or you want Nima to go first? Nima, go ahead, please.
No.
let me hear your thoughts, Nima. Go ahead.
Okay, so I don't agree with Tope because, of course, I'm a Muslim. So if you're divorced, you have to marry before you can come back and remarry. You have to taste another.
Oh, so the woman has to go and marry somebody else?
Yes, the man too has to marry someone else.
Oh, before they come back.
So it's only after they are divorced, the second time that they can remarry.
Oh, really?
So that sentiment is taken care of. Then, again, if you have moved on, why are you looking back? As you are going forward, cannot have your eyes behind you, miss your step. So while you were there, you didn't do, or you didn't work. I don't want to say you didn't do what you had to do, but it just didn't work. Let it go. And if it's the happiness of somebody else, wish them well. That's the way I see it. But to live in both worlds and be demanding loyalty, it's not breaking anything.
I feel that when you have moved on, you have moved on. But that does not take away how awkward it will be. Definitely, I'm sure you would have that uncomfortable feeling. And as Topper said, those questions, was there something happening before? Was she always playing for him? Could she have been part of it? But if that's not the case, after 5 years, for me, I even feel that's a good enough time to meet someone new and start a new relationship. But there are some other instances where this new relationship between husband and friend is done almost like with a consent, not exactly consent, like with the acknowledgement, sis, your ex-husband and I are seeing each other. So maybe she's even aware from when they start seeing each other before they end up being married. So I think that helps with the awkwardness. I've actually read a story recently where she said her friend had married her ex-husband. No, she will not be going for the wedding because she feels awkward. But she doesn't feel, not like she hates them for it, but she just feels awkward. And she wishes them the best. So it will be an awkward situation. But also another thing is, if that ex-wife had found herself in another relationship, it may not really bother her as well, because she's happy, she started her own family, and now her friend is with her husband. And if they work well for each other, she may just be
Let's talk about
happy.
the awkwardness. So your late ex-husband is married to your friend, and
You have children,
and
they
you
don't have
kids,
children,
they
and
have,
then you
know,
now become...
Yeah, or the father comes, he has maybe visiting days when he comes around.
And then he brings your friend.
So to avoid all that awkwardness, because the truth is, this man had seen everything you have, and now he's seeing your friend, and it's like, you feel like you're just all together in this pod.
What
Like
is
he's
important,
a
Maura,
giant,
what should be important
very-
is the awkwardness on one level and your happiness. How important is the awkwardness compared to the happiness? It's just awkwardness. Awkwardness happens in different, scenarios. So just put that aside. I understand how uncomfortable it will be, but it's not necessarily such a... It's not such a bad thing that your friend and your ex-husband cannot have a happy relationship while you're happy for them. It will be uncomfortable, but it's life. And I always say, and I was saying to someone recently, if you live long enough in this world, you will see so many things. And
It's okay to be awkward because we're humans, but it's not something you can't deal with. That initially you find it, you will ask your questions, and if you're mature enough to have the conversations, you pass them. But for some people, they're just outrightly sentimental. You cannot. No, God forbid, can't happen. Sister, if something happens to you, in some cultures, it's your sister that marries your husband. So you are going far, making it complicated by saying your friend can't move on or they can't be happy. So this is how I see it. You are married to a man, you can't stand the way he takes toothpaste. That's the thing you can't stand about him. It's not like he's an evil man, but you can't stand that. And because of that, things just didn't work out. But your friend, that's her preference. Are you going to say that the two of them should not be happy?
You find somewhere else.
Somewhere
else.
So close to home.
Why should it be no? Why can't? Okay.
So
well, I have seen why I don't find surprises in these things anymore. Where a woman is living here, she divorces here, just on the same street, moves down here. Marries, bears children, and the children from the other side comes and join their step-siblings here, and life did not end.
Life moves on.
Life moves on.
So we know that these things, it's not like it is. So if that's a situation, there are
crime.
There are things we don't like can happen. Does not make it right. So what the conversation
does not make it wrong either.
No, it's wrong.
No.
Until that is the case of you are a friend, you don't marry your friend's husband, whether divorced or not. Because it will question the loyalty of your friendship, and it will question if there was something, the integrity of that friendship, and if there was something already going on before, because we've seen cases where
there wasn't
friends,
anything? What if you could determine for sure?
You can't determine that.
If it's really a friend, for the woman to be hurt, there are a few things. She still feels emotionally, she still feels vested in that relationship. She still feels bad about that relationship.
Then why did she leave it?
So sometimes things outside your control. I've seen people that they separated 10 years and they came back together.
Right.
So because those things can happen. And in this particular case, she feels bad meant that she did not expect this, my friend, would do something like that. Right. Because we're living in two different cities. You now decide to go and marry my husband. In the worst case, at least you will bro code will be like, I'll tell you that, babe, I like this.
Good. So
something is already happening. There's a bit of chemistry going on here. Do you still have interest in this man?
Permission.
Yes, that conversation should be had. And the lady would have said, and the lady would have had a bit of closure before she would now feel bad about it.
Because so for me, is just like you started. You said because it's wrong. There's something you said because it feels uncomfortable, but it's wrong. There's some things also that are not wrong, but they feel uncomfortable. So let's just accept that there's some things that will be uncomfortable. And then really, because we know that this is life and uncomfortable things happen, we should just really be talking about how to transition and how to accept it and how to live with it. Because there are situations where friends will become, a best friend will marry an ex-husband. It happens. So now that we know that that is life, how should I, as the ex-wife and the friend, behave? Like you said, and like I mentioned earlier, it will be nice, it will be quite decent to have that conversation. This is what we're seeing each other. In fact, the ex-husband can even say to his ex-wife, we're seeing each other. your friend and I, yes, or he said, no, even before, I'm hoping that the marriage was not a 2-week decision. I met her and then I decided to marry her. Do you understand? We have dated, and because they were friends before, obviously she may even be part of the family, so the children know her and they are comfortable with her and things like that. So now you have that conversation laid out. They have come to meet you and they are decent with you. Not that they need your permission, just that they need you to be aware. And they've laid it out to you, and then you now stand hands akimbo and say, no, it's not going to happen. It will be 2-0 because you have left that relationship. You have moved on. Allow other people to move on.
So in the best case scenarios, maybe they ticked all the I's and crossed all the T's, But there's sometimes where there's that issue of loyalty and integrity and trust. I trust you wholeheartedly.
Like I told you,
I trust you. Every single thing that was wrong with this man, I told you. You were like my listening ear in this whole marriage. And you took my weaknesses, you turned them to your strengths, and then went over to him. And it was easy. So it's a betrayal.
That's a different scenario.
Let me go on a break.
I'm going to come
Let me come on a break. When you come back, we'll come to you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still talking about marrying your friend's ex-husband. And we're talking about the issue of loyalty, trust. And before the break, I was saying that when a woman shares her weaknesses with her best friend or a good friend, like, you know what, my issue is that I'm horrible in bed, and I'm clueless, I don't know what to do, my husband is not patient with me, it causes fights, you know. I know that that's my weak point. Now I have a man who is unable to accept that, and eventually, years after, we're done. And he moves on because he wants somebody more firebrand. Okay. And I'm telling that to my girlfriend. 5 years down the line, and I find that my girlfriend now married the ex-husband.
Just flip the script.
Flip the script. So where is your problem? Okay, I'll go and learn it. I'll become the queen of it. So that when I get to this man, I know that this is what he lacked with my friend. Now, with that knowledge, as a woman, you feel hurt. That you turned my weakness into your own strength, and then went after something that belonged to me. How does that make it right?
Doesn't belong to you anymore 5 years after. Doesn't belong to you anymore. You know, because they are women, worst things are, you know, betrayed loyalty amongst women, aside marrying a person's spouse.
Ex-spouse.
Ex-spouse. So worst things have happened. And I have seen where a person who is helping you through your weaknesses, trying to tell you, focus on this side of your marriage, and you're insistent. You know, some people are just stubborn. I will not do that. You have to accept me as a package. One person was saying to the spouse, I'm a Muslim woman, but I'm a modern Muslim woman. I cannot cook. I cannot this. I cannot that. And if your girlfriend is just looking at you, and then she's the confidant also to your husband, listening here, and then love happens at the X spot. So you say you should not move on. By emotions, listen. So your husband, while you're married, knows your friend who is always talk to you to change, whose way of life is always wanted you to copy. And then when you divorce, he moves to that friend and says, okay, you don't have to change. That's who you are. And then marries her 5 years after. We're having a conversation.
So you're looking at yourself during the relationship.
That's what I'm saying. Look, you
did not help me in the relationship. You are waiting. Okay,
but they tried to help you. You say you are not going to change.
How does that concern you?
You say that you're a modern woman. You're a feminist.
How does it concern you?
You can't become different.
How does it concern you?
Nobody changed you. They left you. You left on your own. You're divorced. Why are you asking the guy not to be happy? So he wants to eat his food.
Be happy elsewhere, not with my own friend.
You can't determine where his happiness will be.
Okay.
You cannot. You cannot. No, Maya, just hold on. You cannot, you're not his parents. You're not his mother. Nobody needs your approval for him to be happy.
True.
You don't have the right to sit comfortable, get your cake, and eat your cake and demand it. You're divorced from him. You're telling him you want to be happy, but this is how. No. Life cannot be giving it to you like that.
Yeah. So the only way, I don't like the way we're telling this story as if a man is there as the gift for the women to be deciding and playing around and determine, you know. There's also the part of a man who has found himself divorced from a relationship, and has gone ahead to just be friends with people. And probably had asked this friend out and she did not accept. So it's not always that women are struggling to get this emperor's attention. You know, things happen in between, between people, relationships, and over time. So we have a woman who, in her own case, she may think she's looking at this man that you have been my wife's friend. I mean, my friend's husband, sorry. You've been my friend's husband, and this may be uncomfortable for me. Do you know the sort of conversations that they have? And to even make it about sex or about intimacy in the house or about cooking. Then sometimes it's just that I love the way when we sit down, we talk, you listen to me, you understand my vision, you understand that this is my purpose and this is what I want to accomplish, and you get it. Your friend did not get it, and that's why it ended. It did not end because you were in the picture. It had nothing to do with you. It ended because it did not work out. And then if they come and tell you that, would you then still insist that that relationship should not go on, even when you knew it had nothing to do with whatever you told her, had nothing to do with however it is that your relationship...
So let me flip it a bit.
Yeah.
So it's not about the woman now. Let's flip it. It's about the man. So the man... Now, me, you're my husband, and I come to you, and you went about to go marry her 5 years after. Now, my issue's not with her anymore because I already feel betrayed. My issue's with you.
Okay.
Why? I have been intimate with you. You and I had a thing. Yes, things didn't work out, but it's disrespectful to me that of all the women out there, you couldn't go and find an extra and somebody else. It had to be my own friend.
Okay.
That in itself is disrespectful to what we had and what we shared and our history.
Then you know how I answer, I'm sorry you feel disrespected, but my happiness is important to me, and I'm sure you want for me to be happy. I'm sorry that it's uncomfortable, that where I found my happiness is where it makes you uncomfortable, but I hope you get over your discomfort and see the bigger picture.
Can I talk about this, our quest for happiness? You know, oh, I want to be happy. I just want to be happy. Whatever makes you happy, in a selfish way, pursuing personal happiness at the detriment of other people around you. Because I want to be happy. Whether you like, it is I stand on your head. It makes me happy to stand on your head. It's happiness. I find my happiness sleeping with your husband. It's happiness. As long as I am happy, it does not matter whether it's right or wrong. There must be boundaries. What is right, what is proper. There are etiquettes, things that you don't do. So where I agree with Mariam is in what we've said earlier. That conversation should have been had early enough. And there are some bitter women who have, or bitter divorce, where one party still just feels, I am not okay, you must never be okay. Like, if I'm not getting myself, you don't have a right to move on. So, barring bitterness, I believe that if divorce has happened, there must be a way to resolve, but don't bring it close to home. You know, there are stories where we hear that a woman died, and then in the next few months or a year after, the best friend of the woman now moves into the house and say, I'm the best person to help her take care of her children. You know, I'm her friend. I really love her. So I don't want them to go and marry somebody from far. I want him to marry somebody that can take care of my friend's children very well.
How would a man feel if his divorced wife marries his friend?
They have moved on since men don't have time.
No, you'll be surprised. They don't assume time. There's some men that will not find. Wait, let me help Mariam define this properly. Please. So you're a man. You live in a 2-bedroom house. Your flat, things happen. You fought. The woman left. She now marries your friend who lives in a 5-bedroom duplex. Is doing very well. Lives in Banana Island. Travels to Europe every single weekend, and she's doing better. And she looks fresher, happier, and she's and you know, as a man, you now feel like okay, I guess I wasn't good enough for her. So there's somewhere in there, inside you, that you feel like I am a failure because I couldn't be the man this woman wanted me to be. So that so you
can't kill your friend for that. Just on Sunday, just this last Sunday, I had to answer this question. So a man who would usually fight about his wife's laziness in cooking, everything, she just wasn't the good woman that he wanted her to be. You know, he would judge her by his mother's standard and everything. And the friend that he used to talk to just used to say, you did not see your gifts. Ashe. The friend, while they were in school, would have wanted to marry his wife, but you know, the girl was focusing on him. So he waited for them, advising them till they divorced. Yes, advising them to make it work. Talking to his friend, every woman can cook, try and accept her like that. But you know, this one, because he had support from his family, said, no, until you go, you must go, you must go. So when the day they threw her out, This one just drove past, packed her things and said, I was helping you through the divorce. Helped her till 3 years later, helped her inside his house.
Yes.
Because he's always cherished that she's a jewel, she's a prized possession. And in her house now, cooks everywhere. It is everywhere. Everything to make the woman
how does it make the man
happy.
feel?
The man, no, now in retrospect, he was once saying to me, Odalemini, and I kept saying to him, Odaleni, because he just moved on with her. And I said, no, but, you know, he's the only one actually of my friends who kept telling me I should take her like that.
So he feels hurt. So it's the same thing we're saying. There's a place of hurt.
He didn't feel hurt. He's realizing his full heart, he's fully at the prior. He's now, in retrospect, just realizing. He initially started from a bitter point, and he remembers that his friend used to tell him, manage your own like that, you know, probably because of what that one has seen.
Please, I would like to hear from our viewers.
So,
Call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. But let me go on the break. When we come back, we'd like to hear your thoughts. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still on this matter. Please call us on 081-270-53687. Also on 091-390-76948. You can also send us messages on YouTube and Facebook. I'd really like to hear your tweets. I'm told I have a caller already. Good morning. Are you there? Hello? I think it's Bola. Hello, are you there? I think we lost our call. You have any messages?
Yes. Yemi Ojuolakwe says, you are not in a position to determine someone's happiness in life when it comes to relationship or who I intended to be with after you are gone. And he says, what happens to sister code? Why recycling men in a world where there are 7 million people? Cole Williams says, Miriam, I disagree with you, beautiful Miriam. There should be boundaries. Miliki says, some people ended up with an incompatible partner, and then later they find true love. Me, I'm seeing this matter differently.
Grace says, if a man feels your friend is better than you, then let him be. It's not your own. Don't feel jealous and go look for your own. Everyone has a special person that will value and treat them right, no matter their flaws.
Let me take a call.
Okay.
Bumi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me, please?
Very clearly. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome
to the show. Please clap for the guest.
Thank you. I always love your show. I'm happy to. My call came through today.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm happy. Okay, please. I want to contribute to what you're saying.
Yes.
This morning. Firstly, I completely disagree with a friend marrying the ex-husband of a friend. I don't think it's right. Nima mentioned something earlier that if it's the sister, I think it's even better with a sister. Marrying your ex-husband is completely wrong for me, please. It's completely wrong. I don't agree to that. Why don't you move on to someone else?
Exactly.
Remember that if you stay in that relationship, there's no friendship again.
Okay.
It can't work. There's no friendship anywhere again.
Thank you very much.
But
Bumi.
they
So
can
they
be
sacrificing.
They can be.
sacrificing because every time I see them together, I'll be imagining.
Why? So that means you've not moved on?
No, but we had something together.
history.
The Okafor's law. We've had something together. Now you are the one having it with the person. I will think of it. It will flash through my head. Movies will be playing that should not
The only
play.
times I think this would be a problem for women. If that woman were to move on to a multi-billionaire, she would not care if, like, let her end up with the Queen of England. But if the person thinks that, maybe for any reason, my own financial circumstances are not good enough, or they are worse off because I have divorced this man, and this my friend, who I knew financially wasn't okay, is now enjoying what I think I should have been enjoying, even though I would not have been happy in the marriage, even though I wasn't happy, and that's why we were divorced. Why is she enjoying the benefits of something I didn't want to be a part of? So that's what it's about. So it's not about their happiness now. It's about your selfishness. Why should she enjoy the things that, should come to me because I was there first? And even for a man, and that's why I was trying to make us understand that sometimes it's not your friend just waiting to be married by your husband. Your husband can your ex-husband can actively pursue a woman and decided that this is the person that he wants to be with. So she was not just waiting,
so he's also
scheming and, you know, to
so
marry your husband.
That's why I flipped it. That sometimes it's not about the woman, it's the man, actually.
Yes.
And it's also wrong, morally wrong for him to pursue. Morally wrong to pursue somebody who was very close to my wife. I think is wrong.
Morally,
morally.
You and I are on the same page.
Let me take this call and come to you. Yeah?
It's too big
Just
now.
uncomfortable.
Good morning, are you there?
Messages.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, my name is Ayodeji from Agbara, and I've been watching the program all morning. I want to say that is this for lack of options in life? Is it or for lack of respect for the relationship you had with your friend? There is no Yoruba say there is no form of relationship that went far that does not have a residue. So, for the respect you have for your friend, I think you should, people should stay away from the relationships their friends have had. I don't accept they didn't have mutual respect for one another. Maybe it was just acquaintances. Okay, I know him, I know her. But if they were really friends, I think that we should not be selfish. The world is becoming very selfish and highly sensitive. And I think that we should consider other people.
Thank you very much, Ayodeji. So it's going back to the issue of selfishness. So we're saying, okay, right, they've not committed a crime, right? Right, they've not committed a crime, but we're saying that there are some things we should also be considerate of others' feelings. We shouldn't only think of me, myself, and my happiness. I'm just happy. It's not hurting you. At least I'm okay. But we're saying that in consideration of other people's feelings, their experiences, where they're coming from, you should stay away.
So
that's what he's saying.
Considerate of other people's feelings is okay. If you have the time in your happiness to be considerate of your friends' feelings. But if you are not, you've not committed any sin.
And
if
I
you're
don't
not in
see
that
that's
space,
a lack of consideration for feelings.
So,
because to give you 5 years, I'm sorry, to give you 5 years could have been, you know what, I've actually wanted this, but we decided not to. We fought it, but now we know for sure we're meant to be.
See, I was going to land on something when I was speaking earlier, and I sort of forgot it. That, you know, it's okay not to be, you know, that you don't consider the person doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong. Sometimes it's just meant to be. And it's okay if you two allow it be. Your inability to allow it be shows that we have plenty of people who need counseling, who need help and letting go of the things that they consider wrong. Have you not had friends who, when you're struggling to make a marriage work, find it funny that you're sticking to it? When you're struggling to make a career work, find it funny that they're sticking to it. And then something happens, you let it go. And you're wondering why they don't consider you if they want it. If you believe in something, you're married, stick to it, make it work.
Let me take a
if
few
you let it go, be certain at the time you're letting it go, it is never going to work for you. It's easier that way to leave it. No matter how it goes.
Nima, I'm not leaving it for you. I'm letting it go.
Auntie,
I'm letting it go for the public. I'm not leaving it for my friends.
You are part of the public.
I'm letting it go. I'm not letting it go to you.
Now,
I'm letting it go for public. Come and take. It's true. Now I'm not leaving it.
Let go of that your necklace and you throw it up. If I love it, Nima, among these three, I will catch that necklace.
It's like when someone throws a bouquet and say, I'm throwing the bouquet, but I'm throwing it
but
to
no,
you.
It's not to you. I will make sure that person you're training for not catch. I will kick and fight and get it.
Let me take this call. Lillian, are you there from Kaduna? I'm so sorry. Please try to call her back. Yes, let's take it to
Black Diamond says, Mariam Longe, I agree with you. Jesiah Ogbo, Jesiah says, the question of... the question is it right? I think the conscience and the individuals involved may be the determining factor. We know when awkwardness is knocking on the door. The conscience won't lie. If that is the case, the awkwardness that would be a result from such a union would most likely destroy the friendship. Would that be worth it? Would it be right? The indicator is what would it be? Rachel says, most divorces don't happen on a happy note. So for my friend to go there, that is disloyalty to me. Let her marry another. Somebody says, do you remember acrimony?
Yes.
But even Akrimoni needed help. You know, she didn't let go. But she
I have to go on a break. I'm going to bring it out guest, but I'd like to hear his thoughts on it. But think about it this way. It's 10 p.m. You're in your bed by yourself. And you're thinking right now, my ex-husband is with my friend.
And you're imagining the movie playing.
And you're just thinking to yourself,
Mariah.
Me, Nima.
I'm here.
Think
Mariah,
about it.
me.
You're at 10 p.m. in this fabulous bed, all the way in the Maldives, and then you have a handsome, rich, beautiful man beside you. Are you going to be thinking about any ex-husband with anybody anywhere?
Number two is that
if you're not happy, you'll be expecting unhappiness everywhere.
I will not be in my bed if I feel that way about my husband. It will not be ex-lie. Lie.
You hold on tight.
Let me go on a break. When we come back, I'll bring in our guests to join the conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.